Hey, party people. This is your friendly neighborhood fashion design and illustration professor, Zoe Hong. Not as caffeinated as the last video. I had a drawing video ready for you today, but my wrist has been bothering me the past few days. So instead, you're just gonna have to put up with my sloppy handwriting. Today, let's talk about careers in fashion. There are so many things you can do within the fashion industry, still flex your creativity muscles and not be a fashion designer. So today in this video, I'm going to kind of give you an overview of all the cogs in the fashion machine, all the areas that you could possibly work in the fashion industry. I'm probably going to forget a few things here and there. I can't remember every single job role available in the industry, but I'm going to give you an overview of the industry, overview of the career possibilities out there in the world for your skill set, your creativity level, your strong points. Let's start with fashion design. Let's start at the clothes making, because that's kind of the center of it, right? You know, when you have a fashion merchandising degree or background, you can work in design houses and work in different roles to organize and help the design process, or you can go on the buying end, you know, running department stores and whatnot, okay? We have tech designers in here. What are tech designers? They put together tech packs. They're really the bridge between fashion design and getting the garment produced, working with pattern makers, sample makers. You know, pattern makers and sample sewers, they are integral to the garment construction product development process. So I put them in the design team. So we have this group in here, and this group relies on raw materials to get their stuff done, and that's an entirely different segment. So in here we have textile designers, and we also have print designers. They're different. You know, print designers do specific prints with repeats. Textiles cover different textures and non-repeating textile designs. We have graphic designers. We have all the people that work in fabric mills and converters and distributors. We have all kinds of trims designers. And this is such a huge category that it needs its own mind map spreadsheet, okay? We have zipper companies like YKK. They have so many different designs of zipper heads, teeth, metals, colors. I mean, yeah, that's a whole category in and of itself. Think about all the different kinds of buttons you have on the clothes in your wardrobe. We have button designers, all the lace trims, you know, piping, fringe. Somebody is designing all these things, all right? Beading, okay? Companies like Swarovski, who also keep tabs on trends like color forecasting and whether, you know, matte beading is becoming a trend. And then we have like leather tanneries. And then we have kind of like a handicrafts category. I don't even know what to call it, but you have the handicrafts category of these knitters, lace tatters, crocheters, macrameers, and felters. And you have the segment that remain handmade, small batch, specialty. And then there's an entire industry where they have taken these handicrafts and made them machine processable and created machinery and factories based off of these handicrafts. So all these people that are creating raw materials. Let's talk about embellishment. Because in here is embellishment, design, and services. So beading, and I'm talking about people who are doing the literal beading, not Swarovski where they're selling the beads. And then we have embroidery. You know, many places they specialize in embroidery. Some offer design services. Usually you send in the design, they'll digitize the tape, and they will, send you a sample, you approve it for production, you figure out the placement, you send over the pattern pieces that need to get embroidered, all that good stuff, right? Embroidery, appliques. Appliques are when you have a design cut out of fabric and then it's stitched along the edges onto, they're basically fancy patches. Fancy pants, fancy patches, okay? We have dye houses where you can get things custom dyed to your Pantone color. What are wash houses? Like denim. When you say you have acid wash denim, lots of different kinds of washes. There are also those houses that like take your already made jeans and beat and cut and shred, and they do all of that. I think they also do that thing where you throw your jeans in the dryer with a bunch of rocks and beat your jeans to crap, all those people. I'm gonna put laser cutting in here. That's a cool thing. And then debossing and embossing. What's the difference? Debossing is when you take the design and you depress it into the material. So it's sunk into the material. Deboss, depressed. Embossed is when the pattern, the design is raised up from the surface of the fabric. I have a really cool paper embossing video tutorial in my fun stuff playlist. Go watch that. It's like my favorite little craft thing. It's like my only paper craft thing, really. So we have this whole sphere of the making of things. Ooh, side note, I forgot. Fashion designers and merchandisers also utilize fashion forecasting services, which is its own industry. Companies like WGSN, they also use color services and color forecasting services like Pantone. Let's talk about production. Sample pattern makers and production pattern makers are different. They solve different jigsaw puzzles. Sample pattern makers, they're all about getting the design right. Production pattern makers, their job is to streamline the pattern as much as possible without diluting the design and possibly save as much money for the company as possible. Okay, so we have specific production pattern makers. We have people who do grading, people who make marker makers, say that 5 times fast. We have cutters. Of course, we have the stitchers, the sewers, and then we have finishers. Finishers range all over the place from people who, they press the final garment, they fold them into poly bags or hang them into hangers, and they add buttonholes to garments. They attach the buttons. Okay, those are kind of last minute things. Like you have to sew the garment and sew all the layers together before you punch a buttonhole through all your layers, right? You have both domestic and overseas factories. You can have, vertically integrated systems and factories that do all these things. And you can have one, you can build one, or you can work for one, or you can specialize in one of these categories. What's a vertical integrated factory? That's when you have all the things. It's like, hey, here's my garment. I want the whole thing produced in your vertically integrated factory. Then they will, they'll do the production pattern, they'll do the grading and the cutting, and they'll do the whole thing within one facility. Let's talk about sales. If you watch my fashion sales video series, then you know that the two main prongs are wholesale and direct to consumer retail. So with wholesale, on the designer's end, we have sales reps, we have showrooms. You can work in trade show production. I mean, that's a whole monster that requires a lot of people to, especially the big ones like Magic and Project Show and all that. And then on the retail side, we have buyers and, the retail machine filled with tons of underappreciated people. We have visual merchandisers, online shop management. You need web designers. That's kind of more for the wholesale side. And then, all these people are for both wholesale and direct to consumer retail. And then here's marketing. We have PR, social media. Usually PR firms will take care of social media. they're tied, but their Venn diagram there's a lot of overlap, but they're not exactly the same thing. Okay, we have runway shows, and then we have ads, the ad agencies. And with runway and ads, we have a crew of models, hair, makeup, set design, runway design, and like the whole production side of things, like lighting and sound, photographers, videographers, stylists. We have billboards, magazine ads. Traditional TV commercials are less of a thing now because traditional TV in itself is less of a thing now. So we've kind of moved into the whole fashion films world. I went to the La Jolla International Fashion Film Festival this past July and got quite an education on that whole universe. So there's those, and then we have all kinds of website ads, and then again that goes into kind of the social media, kind of all ties in, right? And then I want to talk about journalism. It's related. It's a little bit separate. It's supposed to be because they're supposed to be reporting on everything that's going on as opposed to being involved with everything that's going on. But it is part of the fashion industry. We have magazines. We have newspapers like Women's Wear Daily. We have blogs, websites that are kind of a combination or slightly separate from all these other things. All of these have their own creative teams. Okay, we have writers, editors, hopefully, photographers, videographers, web designers, graphic designers, their editorial teams to create their layouts and pictures for their magazines and stuff. And they have their own models, hair, set design, stylists, that whole team of people as well. And then just to give you a glimpse into fashion's crazy spider web-like reach, I just want to briefly touch on tertiary industries that benefit from fashion. Shipping is a huge deal, okay? Nothing works without shipping because no matter how much of what we do is online, at the end of the day, our industry is about tangible clothes on our bodies, tangible shoes on our feet. So shipping, the whole credit card and, finances thing, especially, specialized financial services for overseas production, that's a whole world that I'm not really well versed at. I just know enough to know that I need to know more about these things if I were to launch into a big international business. Real estate and retail are intrinsically linked. So you got to understand real estate if you want to get into the brick and mortar game. Okay. And then on the darker side of things, we have scams. We have scam industries and knockoffs. Okay, so everyone knows about knockoffs, Chanel bags, Prado bags. And then there's like scam industries where they create websites that look kind of like an Hermes handbag website, but their website URL is like one letter off, and they're not going to send you an Hermes knockoff. They're going to skim your credit card information that you input to try to buy a bag and run with that. So there are all these terrible scam and knockoff industries that literally make billions of dollars a year tangentially off the fashion industry. Okay, just to end this video on a happy note, right? Is this every single job available in the fashion industry? No, I'm sure I forgot some stuff. Is this a basic overview of many of the career paths available within fashion? Yes. And you don't have to be a designer to have a great time working in fashion and being creative. And, oh yeah, you're going to laugh at me in a second. I forgot. Teaching, okay? You can do all these things, and then if you decide that you want to work with students and teach and impart your wisdom, you can move into fashion education, which I have done, which I have found quite rewarding. But yeah, so see, I totally forgot that last one. I hope this video was helpful for you. Please do give this video a thumbs up if it was. Share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Drop me all your questions in the comment section below. I'm going to give my wrist a few days more rest and then get back into more drawing and painting videos. Hashtag always be practicing unless your wrist hurts. And I will see you in the next video.